Last video I posted was the front crank seal. I replaced that, and literally the same day it started squeaking again, was blowing air through it, and I've been just trying to figure out why the oil pan's pressurizing now, because every time I replaced it the second time and I started it with the hood up, and when it started acting like it was just running weird, it was real like shaky and surging, like this pipe was shaking back and forth real bad, which it doesn't usually do, and I just freaking pulled the dipstick and it's like freaking blew off all kinds of shit. Yeah, so I replaced the front crank seal twice, and blew the first new one I put in, and then the second one's good, but I don't want to do any more logging or any like heavy throttle driving until I figure out why it's pressurizing the oil pan, because I just don't want anything to happen to the turbo or anything. I mean, every now and again it was pushing a little bit of oil through the seals in the turbo, and you could see a little bit in the intake, but I mean it wasn't much. It wasn't enough to like make it smoke out of the exhaust or anything like that. But I just been playing it safe. I haven't really been driving it too much. I drove it like one time, and that was just when I started to test it. I did 2 days ago I jacked it up and just pretty much took a few hours and cleaned all the underbody, like the oil pan and everything. There was just a lot of like oil residue and all dirt caked to it, and you know, shavings from all kinds of metal and plastic and just all kinds of shit down there. And I figured I'd just take a couple hours and clean like all of it up, and it would give me a better idea where the oil leak's coming from. And I read on one of the forums that if you ever like have like service done at a dealer or just anywhere really that has to do with like the oil pan or the oil pan gaskets, or even if you haven't had service done, it's just you've had it for a few years, just lay under there, and if you can get to it, if you have access to it, just take your fingers and just try and turn the bolts, because I had 5 that I literally unscrewed with my fingertips, and yeah, I cleaned everything up and tightened those up, and yeah, and I found out this line that runs to my to the blow-off valve down here, right down, it goes right under the manifold, and there's a solenoid right down there, or a sensor that it connects to. Well, I just put pretty much this size vacuum tube all the way down, and had like a vacuum, like a vacuum adapter, like a plastic one down there, like a T, and I put a block off, like a little rubber cap to block off the one T, and I went to put the stock vacuum line back on, because I figured, what the hell, why not? I mean, I don't really have much to lose. And when I took it off, that little rubber tip that was on the T, one of the T's, was like ripped, and it was just wide open. So I'm really hoping that could have been why the PCV wasn't pulling enough air at idle to keep everything running right. I don't know. We're gonna find out, because I got 1-inch oil hose, complements of Ben's hydraulics. I'm going to do the 1-inch from here to the can, and I'm going to get rid of all this dumb shit that I did before, and I'm just going to do, it's a 3/4 inch, it's this size, just right over to the manifold. So hopefully a combination of all those things will get it running right. I'll post some other video as soon as I, find out what the problem was, and if what I just said was the problem. So I'll be back. Oh yeah, and I also forgot to mention, I did check, every aspect of the PCV system, and it's all good. The valve, I just replaced the valve cover when I did the front oil seal, so the valve cover is brand new. I don't know if you can, if you'll be able to see it, but the orange check valve is there. I don't know if you can see it. Well, if you can, you can. If you can't, oh well. But the orange check valve is there. I tried to screw around with it, clean it off a little bit, and you can clearly see the orange. Valve cover I just replaced, so that's good. And this thing, the stock check valve that comes on the stock turbo, I blew through the hose, took the hose off and blew through it and tried to blow the opposite way, and it was working fine. Everything was working. So I'm just kind of stumped with why the oil pan would be building so much pressure, and it doesn't happen all the time. I started it 2 days ago, fired it up for the first time in a few days after I did some stuff, and it fired right up, real smooth. Didn't sound like anything was pressurizing. I pulled the oil dipstick, nothing, no air blew out or anything. It ran great. The following day I was at her screwing with it again, fired it up after I was done screwing with it, idled. It was pretty smooth, and then it started like leveling off RPM wise, and it just was shaking a little bit more than it usually does, and I just could tell something wasn't right, and I pulled the dipstick and it just blew a whole shit ton of air out of the oil pan. And I tried to shut it off and start it a few other times, and it did the same thing. So it's like a hit or a miss. Sometimes it'll pressurize, other times it'll run great. I don't know. Just wanted to post another clip of the end result. I think it looks pretty good with the silver on the blue and the real big lines. Let me know what you think.